Shall we pray? We praise thee, O God. We acknowledge thee to be the Lord. All the earth do worship thee, the Father everlasting. We bless you for the opportunity of this morning. We pray and commit our program into your hands. We commit every form of technical linkage into your hands. We pray for the smooth flow, and we commit all our participants into your hands as well, that your Holy Spirit shall direct them and whatever knowledge they need to acquire through the ICAG program, they will do that for the glorification of your holy name, through Jesus Christ our Lord. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much, Mr. John Hansen of the event unit. Um, as you may be aware, we started this whole virtual outreach thing in August this year. And so far, we've had 3 editions. This is going to be our 4th one. Before I'll say anything, I want to welcome the Chief Executive Officer of the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana to give us a welcome address before we can commence. Mr. Kwesi Ajimai, please, if you are here, kindly take over.
Thank you very much, Mr. Trowley. And good morning to everybody. And thank you all for participating in these virtual outreaches that we have been organizing since the pandemic broke out. In the past, we have had several outreaches, but they had all been in-person outreaches at specific centers. This time around, we have learned a lot of lessons, if not anything at all, despite the negative effects of COVID. We are all getting used to having virtual platforms to deliver services to our stakeholders. Not only ICAG, it's everywhere. Here we are, and then you have opted to join us, and we appreciate it so much. And we are using this platform also in a way that we can reach out to so many of our students. We know the times that we are in now, especially at this time of the year that we are preparing for the second session or the second diet of exams for the year 2020. God has been merciful that despite the COVID, we have managed to have the 2 diet exams that we've been doing. Even we had planned to have had 3 diet exams this year. But as you all know, preparation because of COVID, we couldn't put that together. Definitely, it will come up where we will be having 3 diets in a year. Why are we having this particular topic or this outreach at this time? The reason is that we want to put you together and share ideas with you as in how we can go through the exam successfully. Choosing to be a chartered accountant is a noble decision. It's a very, very good decision for yourself, for your family, and for your country. The country needs a lot of accountants in every aspect of our lives, in our financial management, in our corporate governance systems, and even managing national pairs. And we have decided to prepare ourselves for these assignments and going to write the exam. There are a lot of mysteries surrounding the ICAG exams, and we want to demystify all those mysteries to let you know that it is not that mysterious or it is not that difficult. We know you are preparing and preparing well for the exam. And to make it easier for all of us to write the exam, the Institute has gone ahead to publish its own manuals covering the entire syllabus that we use to run these exams. So we know you have your syllabus, we know you have your manuals, and you are preparing and preparing well. We are going to take you through what you need to do, preparing yourself, allay all the fears, go to the exam room, write, and you will pass. And on that note, I wish you all well in the upcoming exam. We know you will make it. We can even refer to the last exam where we had a record pass rates. And we expect that we are going to have even better results this time around. So feel free, allay all the fears, prepare well, and despite all things, you must give thanks to God. Put your everything in the care of the good Lord. He will take you through and success will be yours. Once again, you are welcome and enjoy the session with us this morning. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chief Executive Officer, the Chief Servant of the Institute. Thank you for the words of encouragement. Thank you for sharing the opening address with all of us. We are grateful for the opportunity to have you on set. So, ladies and gentlemen,
Thank
once
you.
again, you are welcome to the fourth virtual outreach of the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana, your institute, our institute. Now, following the COVID-19 pandemic, the institute devised new and innovative ways of keeping in touch with our key stakeholders. Now, one of such ways was to institute the virtual outreach sessions. We started in August of this year with the first outreach on 21st August. The second outreach was held in September on the topic ICAG and you, courses offered, training centers, and job opportunities. Now, October was the Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so we dedicated our third outreach to our women, where our women accountants took center stage. As you already know, the November 2020 professional exams is just a little over a week away. The Institute wants our students to go into the exams fully prepared, fully aware, and adequately informed. Now, for this reason, and let me add, for the first time ever, the NCC is bringing to you this in this fourth virtual outreach, key stakeholders who are involved in the ICG exam process to talk to you, to convey information to you, and to respond to any questions you may have concerning the battle ahead. Now we could keep evolving as an institute, and this is certainly one way of being responsive to the needs of our esteemed students. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Al Hassan Yusuf Traule, and I'll be your moderator for this program. On the bill this morning, who do we have? We have the Director of Student Services, Mr. Patrick Mensah, who will briefly talk to us about background of the CA course. The Director of Technical and Research, Mr. Oseko Kujeje, will also give us an overview of the ICAG examination. Of course, he'll be supported by the exams manager. We have in our midst, for the first time, an examiner to talk to us about some of the do's and don'ts during examinations. He's involved in the whole process and he's aware of some of the mistakes that students make, which lead them to the 48%, 47, 46, and for which reason they are never able to cross the 50 mark. I'll also be sharing some comment from the Chief Examiner's report of the Institute. Now, those reports contain a lot of information for students, but unfortunately, most students just go through the solutions without actually paying attention to the content of the Chief Examiner's report. As we always do, we have some students and past students share their experiences on their CA journey. We will talk to a student who failed many times, but who never gave up. We also talk to a student who, although not a business student, wrote and excelled at ICAG and was even awarded an ICA England and Wales scholarship. We will talk to a student who completed at the age of 19 and another who completed at the age of 54. We will talk to a young man who graduated then at the age of 19 as the youngest qualified accountant and who set an enviable record of writing not one, not two, not three papers, not four papers, not even five. He didn't write six papers. He wrote and passed seven papers. Guess what? He passed all the seven papers at one sitting. We'll talk to him to find out how he did it, especially since he was still a university student at the time he was taking those papers. It promises to be exciting. It will be exciting. Ladies and gentlemen, I welcome you to the fourth virtual outreach. We are going to start, like I said, with the Director of Student Services, Mr. Patrick Mensah, who will be taking us through the CU course, some brief background on it. If he's ready, I'll give him the opportunity to start with that. Mr. Patrick Mensah, please, are you here?
Yes, I am.
Please take over and give us some background to the CU course. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lassan, for this opportunity. In fact, I'm going to talk a bit about the background of the CA course. And let me use the opportunity to greet everybody on this platform. So good morning to all of us on this platform this morning. CA examination started in the 60s and has since produced a lot of professional accountants, in fact, excellent accountants who had managed the accountancy and finance areas of many of our institutions. Some of them had even risen to the position of chief executives and in charge of many of the institutions. Essentially, the CA or ICAG examination measures the competence of those who want to manage accounting and finance areas of our various institutions. So what the exam does is to measure your competence, is to measure your ability, whether you can manage these areas of our institutions. And for that reason, you have to face an exam. Um, Exam is feared by many of us. But when you mention the exam, everybody will want to go back. But it takes those who are bold, it takes courage to say, I can do it. And once you master the courage to do it and you pass your exam and become a chartered accountant, then you are the successful person. So it takes some courage to face the exam. Right. Once there is the writing of an examination, there is also learning and preparation for the exams. And so if you look at the ICAG examination, there is always the area of learning to acquire knowledge to be able to write the exam. Many have done it. And in fact, it pays no respect to what class you made, whether you made a third class, a first class, second class, whatever class. Once you have the ability to learn and give yourself to acquiring knowledge, there is that high possibility of passing your exams. For that reason, the institute will always give you syllabus detailing all the areas that you need to cover, the things that you need to learn um, to be able to measure up to that level of competence. And so there is always a copy of syllabus. If you're a student and you don't have the syllabus, then quickly download the syllabus and see what you are supposed to learn. But if you're already having, then make sure you attach the syllabus to what you are learning. I know somebody, before he goes to the exam, he will tell you that this exam I have passed because he had measured himself with the syllabus and he knows he's covered so much out of the syllabus. And there are other times he will tell you, this time I didn't make time to prepare very well, and so this exam will be difficult for me. So if we use the syllabus as prescribed by the institute, then it's likely we could pass our exam and we will know exactly what we are supposed to learn and what we are supposed to pick. And like I said, it doesn't matter the class. If you are WASI, you are a first class student from the university, a second class student, third class student. Once you can learn, it's likely you pass the ICAG exam. Let me also add that as you go in to write the exam, you must know your strength. You must diagnose your situation and know your strength. There are people who use a week, 2 weeks to read their books, and sometimes because they haven't read enough, the exam becomes difficult for them. And unfairly, they will pass comments as if they were not favored. But if you diagnose your own situation and you've done enough, then the possibility for you passing the exam is very high. Let me also mention that perseverance is the key to success when it comes to ICA exam. You need to persevere. You write once, the next night you won't write, the next night you write, maybe 2 nights we won't see you. When it happens like that, it becomes difficult for you. But once you persevere, I have seen people who write every night till they qualify. And so perseverance is key to passing ICAG exams. The more you subject yourself to writing the exam, the more you gather the experience in writing to pass. And then the last one I want to say is also that there are scholarships as bonus for those who learn very hard. So if you are writing CA exam and you are learning very well and you pass very well, you can make ICA UW scholarship, you can make ICAG scholarship, And so the essence of studying to pass your exam is very key. You need to apply yourself to the books. My CEO had already indicated that there are books written to suit the syllabus. You have your syllabus, you have your books, and then if you diagnose your own situation and you realize that you need tuition, then you must also go to some of our tuition centers. In fact, on our website, we have many of our tuition centers indicated on the website that you can easily apply to get. And so if you look at your situation and you need some additional learning, you need to go to one of these tuition centers. Once you have your tuition, you have your books, you have your syllabus by the side, and you commit your time and yourself to it, the likelihood of you passing the C exam is very, very high. And then you make the knowledge necessary to measure to the competence required for you to become a chartered accountant. Zalasan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mensah. The key to passing ICAG exams is perseverance, and that is certainly true. In fact, some 10 years ago, this sitting, began my journey to ICAG. I wrote my first paper in November 2010. So it's been 10 years of grace, and certainly we have been able to go through successfully. I pray that this diet, those of you who are ready will qualify. I added that to those of you who are ready, because not everybody who is ready to pass. Yeah, some of you are just not ready. Of course, we are going to learn how to get ourselves ready by applying ourselves to whatever our people are going to tell us today. So next on the bill, we will talk to Mr. Osei JJF, who is a technical director of the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana. He's going to talk to us about ICAG examinations. Of course, he'll be supported by the examinations manager. Mr. Osei, if you're around, please take us through ICAG exams.
Thank you so much, Alasan, for that opportunity. I hope I'm being heard by everyone.
Yes, we can hear you, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. Yes, dear students, good morning and welcome to this fourth outreach program of the Institute. And I would like to take you through the processes before you have the examination served on your table. And then what happens thereafter. This presentation is to help you to understand that the CA examination has a lot of integrity, and the process is such that you cannot expect questions to leak before the examination. And let me start by saying that since I came to ICAG, I've not heard of any question leakage because of the integrity of the process that have been put in place. And it all starts with the calling for questions from subject experts. Now, when we send the request for questions, the experts are supposed to set the questions according to the syllabus. And that you have heard from the Director of Student Services. As a student, the syllabus should be your guide. And if you look at the syllabus, a serious student should know where the questions will come from. And I'm going to explain. Now, I have before me the syllabus book, and I've opened to management accounting. Now, when questions are asked from subject expert examiners, they are asked to set questions on a particular area. What it means is that they're not going to set questions on all the topics. And you know what that means? No examiner knows all the questions that will be served on your table on the day of the examination. It's not possible. And so for management accounting, for instance, one examiner will be asked to set questions only on budgets and budgetary control. Another will be asked to set questions on short-term decision making, another on long-term decision making, another on performance evaluation. So you can see clearly that one examiner will know the questions that he has set for a particular topic. And so he wouldn't know which one will be served on your table on the day of the examination. That's not it. After the questions are set by the examiners, they are submitted to the Technical and Research Department examinations. Then we invite what we call moderators or examiners who will come and review the questions that have been set. Why are they going to review it? Because if you
Um, I think we are having some technical challenges with Mr. Osai's network. He will join us soon. By the meantime, let us remind you that the council released some notice to all students. I'll try and go through some of the key highlights of that notice. So the Council of the Institute of Chartered Accountants wishes to inform all current and prospective students that the following guidelines will apply to the November 2020 examination date. A, students will be allowed to write papers across levels on the following guidelines. 1. Level 1 candidates with only one paper left can add a maximum of 4 papers in Level 2. Level 2 candidates who have only one paper to complete at this level can write that paper together with all
at
other
what point
papers.
was I not heard? So that I can go back.
Okay, so I think Mr. Osei is in now. We'll allow him to take over. I think, Mr. Osei, you were talking about the management accounting paper, the fact that the examiner will only know the question he or she sets.
Thank you so much. I'm back.
Okay.
So just to go back, yes. So the subject expert will set questions based on a topic. And as I said earlier, in man accounting, we have 6 areas. And so if you are asked to set a question, then you set a question on, let's say, on the budgets and budgetary control. Another will set questions on management decision-making techniques. Another on short-term decision-making. Another on long-term decision-making. Another one on performance evaluation. So you can see clearly that as an examiner who is setting the question, you will not know which question will be set on all the areas, but only the areas that you've been asked the questions on. Now, these questions are submitted to the Technical Research and Examination Department, and then we invite what we call moderators. They are also experts in the subject. They are to check whether the questions meet specification. What specification are we talking about? If you take a look at your syllabus, you'll see the syllabus coverage and then also the weighting. So they will check and see whether the questions fit for purpose. They meet the coverage and the weighting. And also the difficulty level is right for maybe level 1 or level 2 or level 3. And the number of hours that is needed to answer the question also is adequate. Now, after the moderation, then it is put in a question bank. What it means is that we'll have a lot of questions to administer. And so at any point in time, no one knows which questions will be administered. Now, getting to the examination period, these questions are selected and then printed for use. That's what you see on your table on the day of the examination. Now, after the examination, there are further processes before you get your results. And all these processes are to ensure that there's no leakage, there's integrity around the whole process. Now, when the scripts are sent to the marking center, we invite examiners, markers. And what we do here is that each examiner is asked to mark one question. And so let's say man accounting, we have 5 questions. So an examiner, a marker will mark question 1, another will mark question 2, another will mark question 3 in that order. Why are we doing that? In that case, no examiner can decide the fate of a student. So even if by mistake you get to know the one you are marking the script. You can only mark one question. And indeed, it is done in such a way that as an examiner, you wouldn't know whose paper you are actually marking. You wouldn't know because we use codes. Now, after everything, we have a chief examiner who also review the marking. All borderline cases are remarked to ensure that no student is disadvantaged. After that, then it comes to the processing. Now, the examiners will record the raw scores on a score sheet. That this is checked by professionals from ICAG who come to do script checking. So they will compare the actual script mark to what have been recorded on the mark sheet. They will check everything 100% before it is keyed in into the examination management system. Now, after everything is keyed in into the management system, it is printed 100%. Then we have examinations committee. They have a subcommittee that come to check the results 100%. What they do is to compare the system generated records to the actual raw scores on the score sheet that have been checked by the script checkers. They will check 100% before eventually, if there are corrections, it will be made. Then the results are taken to the examination committee for review, for recommendation to council for approval. Then a date will be set for council to also review the results and then approve for the results to be sent to the students. And so you can see very clearly from the beginning right down to the end, we ensure that the process has integrity. That's our method. And so from the beginning, when the questions are called to when the results are released, it will be very difficult for anyone to say that the questions have been leaked or my mark have been reduced. I had more marks, but it has been reduced. Of course, we are human beings. And so even after the results are released, students have the opportunity to apply just to look at their script, that is the remarks that they were awarded. And many students have taken advantage of this opportunity. And when they come, they are shown their script to see whether the mark on the script is the same as the one that was sent to them as their results. And so, in conclusion, what I will tell students is this. Please make good use of your syllabus. The syllabus have been designed in such a way that you will know exactly what questions will be asked. For each of the topics, let me give an example. The one I'm holding here, budget and budgetary control, B. It starts with the question that you should expect. Identify and explain the issues of budgetary control in management decision making and prepare key budgets. That is a question that you'll be asked. Then it gives you the detail what you should produce to answer these questions. The question will not come from space or from mass. It will come from your syllabus. So make good use of your syllabus and definitely you can pass. Thank you for this opportunity and I'll wait for any questions if there is.
Thank you very much, my boss, Mr. Oseko Kwejejenfi. Make very good use of your syllabus and certainly you are going to pass. So this is still the fourth virtual outreach of the Institute. You can send in your questions and comments early so we can attend to them quickly through the comment session. We hope to close by noon. We'll be sharing with you your feedback from INFAX. It's been shared already. Let us know what you think of this program and what subsequent editions should discuss. You are reminded also that we have offices across the country in Accra, Kumasi, Cape Coast, and then Tamale. Our Accra head office is located at the Accountancy House, East Legon, on the Trinity Road. Our telephone number is 0558-836988 and 0503-035428. Our commercial office is handled by Sandra Safuji and then Nathaniel Ahmed. It's located at the Ahojo Roundabout, Nyako Plaza, the same building with IPMC and ADB Bank. Their contact 0243-967134. Our Cape Coast office is manned by Thomas Osei and Kojo Amenfi. It is located at Cape Coast Technical University, the first floor of the old administration block. You can reach them on 0264-423849 and then 0205253035. Our Tamale office is handled by Felicia Nambiri and then Kwame Tichi. It is located at the Yamusa building, 0249060694. The numbers are being scrolled on the screen so you can contact our reps as well. We also have reps in all regions. You can find their contact details on our website. All right, so before we move on to our next presentation, let me remind you that this particular sitting, we are expecting about 6,126 students to sit the exams. The breakdown is as follows. Level 1, we are expecting about 471 students. Level 2, 3,407 students. And then level 3, 2,248 candidates sitting for the exams. It promises to be interesting. So we are going into our next presentation, which is about the do's and don'ts during exams, and it's being handled by an examiner. For the purpose of this discussion is Mr. Yao Mensah. Mr. Yao Mensah, if you are here, please take over and then take us through the do's and don'ts of during examinations. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Alasan, thank you so much. Can you hear me, please?
Yes, I can hear you. We can hear you.
Great. Thank you once again for the opportunity. IC examination, as has been said, is one of the best things you can actually do. For me personally, it was the best thing that happened to me as a student. Now, IC examination, if you respect the rules and understand the things we ought to do, then it should be a bit easy for you to actually pass. One of the reasons why people don't pass IC examination is because of the fact that they ignore certain important but minor things, but they are quite important. What I normally tell students is that it does not take people who are super intelligent to pass IC. Once you are committed to it, you can always make it. So this morning, I want to take us through some of the common themes that chief examiners report tend to point out that students make those mistakes and for that matter, they don't pass examination. And also from a personal experience as well. Of course, on the top of the list, the first thing is that there is inadequate preparation for examination. The truth of the matter is that there is no way you can pass IC examination, for that matter, any examination without adequate preparation. So right from day one, you must commit yourself to preparing adequately for examination and you will pass. Personally, when I did my examination, I took 1.5 years to do examination. I started May 2006 and I finished May 2007. I used to go to school for admin library where I spent endless of hours learning. If you put in adequate time and quality time to prepare for examination, you can easily pass it. That's number one. Number two, which is quite important, the poor use of ordinary and technical language in answering questions. I think the common thing that is running through almost all chief examiners reports is that the quality of English language written examination hall is just bad. And in fact, linked to that is the social media English, where because we have become so much used to WhatsApp and Facebook, the language that is written examination hall is not up to scratch. And if you did that, you are likely to suffer some marks for that. So I would advise all students to invest time in writing good English in examination hall, especially when it also comes to technical language, to write the language of the course, because every course has its own language. And it's important that in writing the course, use the language of the course. It is quite important. The third point is spelling mistakes. Spelling mistakes. Most of us, or a number of us, tend to make mistakes with spelling. And normally, when you spell a word and it's not rightly spelled, it can change the whole meaning. For example, if you look at the word hair, H-E-R, and then here, H-E-R-E, it makes a whole lot of difference. So it is important that as a student preparing for examination, you take good care of your spellings. Quite important for our spellings. The fourth one that students have issues with is mixing the numbering of questions answered. Sometimes you have answered question 1 on page 1, but you write question 2 on top. When it happens that way, it makes marking of your script quite difficult. We should not forget that examiners are human beings like us. And therefore, if you get things so wrong, which should have been done correctly, you can get examiner probably upset, and that will not be too good in your favor, right? So please, we should take note of not writing wrong question numbers on top of question that we have answered. If it's question 1 you have answered, ensure that you have written question 1 on top of the question you have answered. Another important common mistake students tend to make is failure to comply with standard formats such as report writing, memo. Usually when you read a question and examiner asks you to write a report, please, it must be a report. If it's a memo, it must be a memo. So at this point in time, I expect that every student preparing for examination should know how a report is written. Especially should know how a memo is written. Right? If you don't know, I would advise you to go and look at it. Because when it comes to mark allocation, marks are awarded for the correct use of format. Sometimes it can be 2 marks, 3 marks, 4 marks. And look at why you end up getting 49 or 48 and you don't pass. That's because you didn't use the correct format. So it is important to pay attention to the format of the question. If it's please do report writing. Then the other issue we have observed as examiners is that students tend to concentrate on limited areas of the syllabus, what we normally call punching, or you punch. You see, the truth of the matter is that the questions that are set cover the entire syllabus. So you cannot limit yourself in your studies to a particular area, either based on the past questions or a rapport you may have had to study. It will not help. Syllabus is given to us as students to learn everything. And normally I tell students that, look, usually when examination is being conducted, certain concepts that come for the first time, those concepts are tested in a very easy way. So if you have actually studied very well or learned very well, then it becomes very easy for you to go through. For instance, in the last case study examination, a question was asked on ethical decision making, which requires students to use either TACA 5 model question or AA model. It was a quite simple question for a question, but a lot of students, because they didn't study ethics in case study, couldn't answer the question. So it is important to avert your mind to the fact that you need to cover the entire syllabus so that when the question comes, usually when it is very easy, because you already have the knowledge of it, you can easily attempt the question. It's quite important. Then the other common mistake that is made by students is where students fail to identify entities by names, dates, and headings. So for example, in accounting, we learned about the business entity concept. You cannot prepare profit and loss or statement of comprehensive income or financial position without giving the name of the company or even budget. A lot of us will prepare financial statement without properly identifying the name of the company in question, the date or the period for financial statement or cash budget. All of those things get marks awarded to them. So it is important that every little marks that you ought to take, you must take it, because even one can make a difference. Sometimes students go and see their marks they have 49 or 48, is because you failed to give the name of the company or the date. That's important. Now, the next thing we have to also remember is that we don't allow the use of abbreviation in examination. So please, the use of abbreviation will not help. It is a common thing that I've identified across all levels that students tend to use abbreviations in examination. It's not good. Then the next, number 9, the next important thing we also have to take care of is our poor handwriting. A number of us have very bad handwriting. Yes, I understand that we write examination under a lot of pressure, but please, it is important to take your time to write out legibly so that the examiner can read. I think awarding marks becomes easier when your handwriting is very legible and readable. So it is important for us to pay attention to our handwriting. Then the next point I want to draw attention of students to as well is the fact that a lot of students do not pay attention to the marks allocation. You see, the extent to which you present the answer in the examination will depend on the mark allocation. If you have been given a question for, say, 5 marks, and you are writing 4 pages for that question or 2 pages for that question, come on, you will not be able to get your marks. So it is important that before we attempt to answer the question, we first begin by looking at the marks that have been allocated to that question, so you can provide the answer that merits the marks allocation. We should think that we don't have to kill an ant with a sledgehammer, which simply means that we don't have to go overboard because we know the question that we asked, and then we just keep on writing and writing. We should limit ourselves to the exact demand of the question and as well as the marks that are given to the question. Then the other important issue that we have observed has to do with poor time management. And I want to use the last sitting case study as an example. Now, last sitting case study, a lot of students, you can say that didn't do well because most students spent all their time answering question 1 and question 2. I think because question 1 and question 2 is something that they know and they were well prepared for it. Most students spent all their time answering question 1 and question 2, which actually I think will give the student about 40 marks or so, 40 marks. Clearly, 40 marks will not give you your pass mark. And you will see from the script that clearly a lot of students had very limited time, maybe say 1 hour or 30 minutes to do the remaining 6 questions out of 8 questions. And in doing so, a lot of students then rushed through, they didn't understand the question, and they didn't get a lot of marks from that place. So a lot of students would have passed the last case study if they had managed their time well. Okay, this time management is also linked up with what I said earlier about marks allocation, right? We should bear in mind that you will not, if the marks given to a question is 10 marks, you will not be given 20 marks because you have written so much. No, the marks will still be what? 10 marks. So we should take note of the marks allocation and then poor time management. Then another important thing I want to draw attention to is workings. Sometimes some questions in the examination hall require students to show workings, but some of us, we don't do workings. Marks tend to be allocated or awarded for workings. You know, sometimes in examination hall, people may have long necks to try and then ask colleagues and all of that. But when you show workings, then it gives the assurance to the examiner or the marker that indeed you understand what you have actually put into the financials or whatever you are supposed to do. So it is important, students, to understand that we need to support our answers where relevant or where required with adequate workings, because those workings will award or will be giving marks. So when you actually go on to just answer the question, if you assume it is financial statement, you just did profit and loss without giving the necessary workings, though you may get the marks for the figures you have shown profit and loss, but you lose quality marks for workings you fail to show, and that is very important to take note of. The other one has to do with the fact that students tend to answer questions partially. Please read the question, understand the exact demand of the question, and provide full answer to the questions. We should be finishing in the next few minutes. The point number 15 I have here is where a lot of students are unable to apply theory to the problem question or problem issues in the examination. So, for example, if it comes to case study, when you're analyzing case study, you may be asked to analyze or assess general environment. That question requires the use of a star. Now, if you are a student, you don't understand these concepts well, then even how to apply it is a problem. So most of us would just tend to write generally. Please, let's understand that general writing will not fetch us marks. But what will fetch us marks is the application of our knowledge to the specific or to the given facts of the case. If we fail to do that and we just apply our general knowledge of what we know to the case, we will not merit a lot of marks. It is important for us to understand that. Then the last but one thing I want to quickly mention is the fact that a lot of students have limited appreciation of applicable standards like International Financial Reporting Standard or International Standard on auditing, for example. Let's understand that our profession, as was said by CEO, is a noble profession, and we are governed or guided by standards. So definitely, as a student of our accounting or accountancy profession, we must make standards our baby. We need to have, firm knowledge, deep knowledge of the standard that we are required to use in examination, especially the International Financial Reporting Standards and the International Standard on Auditing. These standards are so important for us. And of course, we can also not forget the Code of Ethics, very important. These are things that a lot of students do not have understanding of. Especially when it comes to financial reporting, you will not be able to do well in such a course without a firm knowledge of the standards. And then finally, I have just two things to say. Finally, poor presentation of answers. I think one of the reasons why a lot of students tend to lose marks is that we don't present our answers well at all. It is good that in answering your questions, you are thematical in your presentation. For example, you have been asked to list or provide explanation for 5 points of something. You don't just keep writing without paragraphing or without using the bullet point. It is important to present your answers by using the bullet point. And then in conclusion, let me say that those who pass IC examinations are not the super brilliant students, but they are students who pay attention to the issues I've raised here. If you follow these issues critically and vet your mind to them and apply yourself to these issues I've discussed here, I believe that you'll be able to succeed with examination. On this note, I wish all of you success, and I'll be standing by for any questions you can take from that level. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Yao Mensah, for the exposition, the do's and don'ts during examination. I think you have just done a very good summary of the examiner's reports release. Yes, and that is great. I hope we have learned a thing or two from what you have said. Before we go on, I'll just try and give some notice to students from the notice which was released by the examinations department. I'll start from point D on strategic case study paper. The strategic case study paper will consist of two parts. Candidates will be provided with background or pre-scene information on the case 2 weeks before examination. I think we all have it as of now. It was released on Monday. Candidates are also to note the following. They will not be allowed to bring the results of their work on the pre-scene information into the examination hall. Pre-seen plus additional information will be made available to candidates in the examination hall. And then for level 3 candidates, the old policy about the need to pass a minimum of 2 subjects before being credited was amended in November 2018. So a first-time level 3 student will be required to write all 4 papers at that level. Any pass at the final level will be credited to the candidate. And the final level 3 candidate cannot register papers less than the number of outstanding papers in subsequent exams dies. We are reminded also that you will be required to adhere strictly to the COVID-19 safety and preventive protocols for the exams. And for this reason, all morning papers will start at 9 a.m. and candidates are expected to arrive 1 hour before time, as they will be required to go through the safety and preventive protocols. All afternoon papers will start at 2 p.m. Candidates are expected to arrive at 1 p.m. to go through the screening process. Candidates will be expected to wash their hands at designated points before entering the examination halls. Hand sanitizers will be provided at every examination hall. All candidates are to wear nose masks. Candidates without nose masks will not be allowed entry into the examination hall. Now, valuables including handbags, backpacks, books, mobile phones, laptops, etc., are not allowed in the examination centers. ICAG will not be held liable for any loss or damages of the personal belongings of any student. Now, by this notice, students are hereby advised to take personal responsibility for their belongings before and after any examinations. So on that note, we'll move straight into our interactive sessions with our students and then past students. They are going to share with us how they did what they did, how they qualified, and then the struggles they went through and what they wish we should know going into the battle. So I'm going to start. There are about 5 of them. I just hope all of them are on set for now. So we are starting with Solomon Asuhine. I mentioned someone who wrote 7 papers at a sitting. Yes, and that is Solomon Asuhine. Solomon, if you are here, please tell us your story. How did you do it, and what should we learn from your story?
Sure, thank you very much. I want to say AGT for opportunity me with this platform to speak to students and prospective students who are looking forward to pursuing their CA. And I'd like to say a bit about myself before I go straight into the experience. Once again, Solomon Etonam Asuhine, and I'm currently an associate of the Institute of Chartered Accountants in Ghana. My journey started in 2017. At the time, I was in university level 100, and it was my second semester. I joined the ICAG in level 100, and 2 years down the line, in 2019, I graduated, and particularly that year, I graduated as the youngest among my batch, and also the youngest in Ghana at the age of 19, which was such a joyous experience. And at the time as well, I was not just wearing the sash of a chartered accountant, but as well of the organizing secretary of the University of Ghana Business School Student Council. We call it the Business House Junior Common Room. And from this point, I guess it is very important for me to mention that to all students who are in college, especially, CA is not supposed to be like an excuse for you to not engage in extracurricular activities. It is essential for you to engage in stuff like that because it's going to help you build certain skills that are going to complement the knowledge you are getting from your CA field. And talking about my experience with CA, I'm going to create a context, and that context is that when I was a student at the ICAG, I was also a student at the University of Ghana, and I was quite at a disadvantage because I wasn't on campus. I was a non-resident student, so I had to be commuting day in, day out for my classes. And so my typical day started like waking up in the morning, and almost always waking up from behind a pile of books I slept off while reading the previous night. And I had to catch a timely commute to campus, go through a class, sometimes I think 2 hours and 6 hours with intermittent breaks, depends on the day actually. And then after my classes, I rush straight to the library and learn myself out. Then I can prepare for my evening class at the ICAG college at Baulishi. um, close, go back home, and try and study again. The cycle was repetitive. So those were my days at the time as a student. And as a student, I had a certain kind of mindset. I knew that this was a kind of exam that you needed to pass to progress. This exam did not care how long you have stayed in it. You just needed to pass to progress. And together with this mindset, I had I was very ambitious because I had set for myself certain marks that I wanted to reach, and they were quite high marks. For those on the call, I am very hopeful that you'll be picking insights from my presentation. I set very high marks for myself because if I had not reached those marks and I was supposed to fall, let me put it that way, I wouldn't fall below the 50, because I found people setting for themselves that, oh, I want to hit the 50. That's all I want. And I want to tell you that that's not ambitious enough, because if you make a slip, you would fall below the 50, which is the pass mark. So I'm telling everyone on the call that you need to set for yourself very ambitious and challenging marks, because you realize that the goals that you set for yourself literally translate into the amount of effort that you put into for the work. So that was my kind of mindset, and this mindset also helped me take on some kind of attitudes and behaviors, some of which made me weird. Let me put it that way. But I believe that this was just for a short while, and things would just change to normal back soon. So I was doing things like keeping a balance on group work, because I understood that this kind of exam is one you take individually. So I find students learning most often in groups, and they leave the group and feel they are okay. But that is not the perfect thing to do. Group learning is great. It makes you learn things fast. It makes you have a collective sharing idea platform to collectively share ideas and learn from others as well. But you should know that this exam is taken individually. And so when you are done with your group work, you have to go back to your closet and make sure that you individually or personally understand the things that were discussed at your group. And I believe this is going to be very helpful. Another thing I did was to be less on social media, or spend less time on social media, because I realized that even though it was a great avenue to, connect with people, it took a lot of my time. And still with the understanding that this academic pursuit I'm taking is going to last for a short time. And as we say, after death, there is more sleep. After the exam, there is more fun, there's more social media. And that is true. I can go on social media anytime I want without having any thoughts lingering in my mind of worry that I'm being unproductive. So cutting off from social media saved me a lot of time I could channel into doing productive work and learning them more. Also, what I did more was to research as well. And there's this platform, the video sharing platform we all know on YouTube. We go there for a couple of things, but it is a very, very great learning space. Anytime I did not understand anything, or the terms or the principles, I went there and searched for them individually. And there are a lot of people who are speaking on it, and so I get a number of perspectives of the term, which gives you a very comprehensive view of that thing you don't understand. So you're almost always leaving YouTube more enlightened. So also I try to stay away from reading past questions when I haven't been sufficiently or adequately exposed to the course. I say that because as well, I found certain students right from the word go, when classes begin, they just jump on past questions and start to answer. And what that will leave you with is a bad perception about the course, because when you don't understand it, you face a question, you ask a question about it, you just are thrown into confusion about it, and then your perception about the course begins to go sour, which is not supposed to be the case. When you are starting the course you are taking, you're supposed to have at least some exposition on the course before you start trying the questions, because definitely if you don't know what the questions look like or what the answers to those questions are like, then you can't answer them, and you you shouldn't so much force yourself at the start to be answering those questions, because when you do that, you may be building on or learning for yourself answers that are not adequately matching to the kind of answer the question is looking for first of all. And you may end up reinforcing this kind of answer in your mind. You may be hard to really grasp the concept when you really have to grasp it. So I would advise that you really get an exposition into the course before you go into your the past questions to read or something. And with all these things as well, I had a certain strategy. A strategy I was really really going in for from level 2 onwards. It was a strategy I followed from level 1, but it wasn't this intense. The strategy was like that. I like to read my books cover to cover, and because I wanted to understand entirely, and I knew that the CA exam really covered the whole curriculum. I knew the most painful thing you could ever have come your way is that you have studied a section of a certain topic. You go into the exam and another section of the same topic you did not consider reading comes. That's the very painful experience. So I was very compelled to read my books cover to cover because I wanted to understand the concepts entirely. So this strategy, as I said, I built on my old cover strategy is that, and actually it's in 3 tranches. So my first tranche is that make sure I read the courses cover to cover, and I reserve 2 weeks to the exam. So 2 weeks to the exam, and then the final the night to my exam as well. So that's what tranche 3. So for tranche 1, what I do is that I read the book cover to cover up to the start of the day, which marks or the day from which the exams will be 2 weeks to the exam. So reading the book cover to cover at the time. Then now 2 weeks to the exam, which is the second tranche, I pick all my books again, try to read them cover to cover to really grasp what's in it. And for the third tranche of the strategy is that the night to my exam, I pick the book or the book for which I'll be writing the exam the next day and try to read it cover to cover. And I realized that this strategy helped because the CA exam is not just about knowing your stuff. It's about how fast you can reproduce them in the exam, because we all know the exam is time. And so you have to be really, really quick at reproducing your answers in the exam hall. So you might have learned a lot during the semester, but it all has to be at the frontal of your mind, so you are able to reproduce it quickly. And the strategy really helped. Before I really sign off, I'm going to mention that being a CA or undertaking the CA course has really been helpful. I wasn't as analytical as I am today. I wasn't as exposed to the world of finance in terms of the overview of or the world of accounting, the world of management accounting, in terms of the overview that CA has given to me of the world of business. It has been a good foundation for me to build on this knowledge. So for all our prospective candidates, I want to say that this is actually an absolutely a great opportunity for you to build fundamental knowledge that you can build on. Even though CA is like quite advanced knowledge, I'll call it for those in college fundamental knowledge, because it is from this knowledge that you're going to really build the experience that you're going to need in industry later or for your practice later. And there's one thing that I always say, that everybody is a genius. You can take this for a quote. Everybody is a genius, but it takes someone to tell them that they are a genius. And I'm so thankful, ladies and gentlemen, for giving me this opportunity to tell you that you are geniuses. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you very much, Solomon, for that. We are grateful for that interesting life experience you've shared right there with us. We have another experience coming from Madam Christiana Odonko. Please, Madam, if you are here, kindly take over.
Hello. Can you hear
We can
me?
hear you. We can hear you.
Hello. Okay. Hello, everybody. My name is Christiana. Well, my ICA experience started in 2012. At that point, I was confused as to whether I should go for a degree or I should start ICA. And fortunately for me, I was advised by a senior colleague that it is better to do the ICA because with the ICA, even with part two, you can even get a job. And you know that the main purpose of us being on earth is to get a job and make more money as soon as possible. So in May 2019, I wrote my first 4 papers. Well, it wasn't easy. When we started at first, even though I had a business background, it wasn't easy. I had to read a lot. And I remember at a point we had to sleep at BAM library with my friends and then go back to the hostel in the morning. Well, God being so good, and with the help of ICA lecturers, I was able to pass all 4 at once. Well, at the exams hall, I realized that there was one thing they told us, our lecturers advised us that when we enter the exams hall, we should focus and then we should make sure whenever we finish every question, we read over. That helped a lot because after I finish each and every question and I read over, I realized I made a lot of mistakes. But with the help of that particular advice that I was given, I made it through the first part. The second part, it went the same way. We studied at BAM Library. We go to the house in the morning and then we sleep. And then around like 1 o'clock, we come back to ICA library. At that time, they had set up the library fresh. There were a lot of books over there. So we were using the books and then the past questions to learn. Well, that one too went well with the grace of God. In fact, that one was a bit challenging. The part two was challenging because it had a lot of quantitative tools, a lot of tax items to learn from. So, but God being so good, we went through it and we passed. Well, when I got to part three, it wasn't easy. Part three, I had an offer to work, and combining work with ICA, it wasn't easy. We had to find means and ways of learning, even though at that point I had the opportunity to practice practically what I had learned in part one and part two. So I had the opportunity to go out into the world, go to companies, like audit them, get a clearer understanding of what I had learned in part one and part two. Well, with part three, I passed only 2 papers and then I had to sit again. But there was one thing I learned with people ahead of me. I realized that with ICA, when you write and you fail, you don't sit back and say, oh, let me wait and then maybe the next 2 sittings are right. You have to continue. Otherwise, you end up not even finishing it. I have friends that I started with and they are still in it. So you have to be consistent with the writing of the paper. It's a bit challenging, but when you are determined and you know where you are going, you will feel that there's something ahead of you and you really, really need to achieve it. For my time, I think being in an audit firm and finding myself in such a career path was enough motivation for me to complete the ICA exams as soon as possible. Well, I continuously wrote the exams continuously, and then I got to part four. With part four, there was one paper that held me. I wrote that paper 3 times, corporate strategy. The first time I had 49, the second time I had 45, and the third time I had 60. I was very happy then because I didn't wait and say, oh, let me just hold on, or let me find another course and leave this one paper that is stressing me out. I decided to continuously write it. I was persistent. And with every exams, if you are determined and then you are consistent and you read your manuals, what the examiners expect of you, you are able to get the marks that you deserve. So in fact, I am ICA. ICA has helped me. Where I am sitting now is because of ICA. It's not because of any degree that I did. It's not because of any other course that I did. I came from secondary school directly to start ICA, and I'm very grateful to ICA. I can bet you that you are not wasting your time. And then this career path that our students are following, it's a very good career path. You will not regret it. Well, I want to take this opportunity to thank everybody for giving me this opportunity to share my experience with the students, and I wish you all the best in your exams. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Madam Odonko. So that was quite inspiring. She failed many times, but she never gave up, and finally she passed with 60 marks. So, Mr. Samuel Asariche, are you around? If you're here, please let us hear from you. What is your story? How will it inspire us? Thank you. Samuel. Okay, so yeah, please, if you are here, kindly tell us your story. We can't hear you. I don't know if you are talking. Please check your microphone. Mr. Asariche, we can't hear you. All right, so we are not hearing Mr. Asariche. I think he's having a little issue with his internet. We will move on to Madam Abena Ochidankwa. So hopefully when Mr. Asariche is ready, we'll come back to him. Abena Ochidankwa, are you around?
Yes, please.
Yes, please tell us your story.
Good morning to everyone. Yes, I'd like to thank ICU for this opportunity to share my exam experience. My name is Abnai Shiwa Ochodankwa, and I turned 19 recently. I'm currently in my final level at ICA and also a level 300 student at the University of Ghana, reading economics, math, and finance. My ICA journey began in July 2018 when I first registered as a student. That was after my WASSCE results were released. Then in August, I gained admission to the university. So I had to balance my time between preparing for the IC course and also for the university exam. And one thing that has helped me in my preparation is planning. At the beginning of every sitting, I take the course outline for the various courses I like to take, and then I share the course content between the number of weeks for preparation I have. And in those weeks, I make sure I cover the course content. And this has really helped me to reduce the stress that comes with last minute learning and preparation. And the waiting grid has also helped me to know which areas to focus on on in my preparation and which areas to spend more learning time on. My lecturers and colleagues have also been of much help to me. Personally, I was fortunate to meet a colleague from the senior high school at ICAG when I first began the course. And unfortunately, she was reinforced me at the university and also at ICAG. So she has been of very great help to me in my exam preparation.
Hello, Abner.
And
If you could
learning.
turn off your video.
And getting tuition also helped me because I've been able to receive guidance from my lecturers as to how to answer questions and be able to help me understand the topics better and exams better. Hello, pardon?
Yes, Abner, take off your video so we can hear because of the video the network isn't very stable. We can hear you, but take off your video. Let's use just the audio.
Hello.
We can hear you, please.
Practicing questions has also been of help to me because sometimes practice questions from okay 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 thank you. Practicing questions has also helped me. I practice questions from the ICA question bank, questions from the manual, also questions from my ICA lectures, and questions from professional bodies. And this has helped me to identify my weak areas and practice more questions in those areas. And it has also helped me build my, because sometimes when I'm practicing the questions, I time and I just time than what I'll be given in the exam hall to complete the question. It has helped with time management in the exam hall. The academic course and the professional course has been challenging for me because I've had lots of sleepless nights. I've spent more hours reading room. There have also been
I think we are having some technical challenges with our network. It's quite unfortunate. So yeah, so if Mr. Samuel Asarich, are you okay? Are you back? Can you unmute and talk, please? No, you've muted. I think we are still having challenges hearing you. Nanesi Yamo, are you there? If Nanesi Yamo is there, she can come in whilst we try and resolve Mr. Asarich's issue. Nanesi Yamo, are you here? Hello, Nanesi. Mr. Asaricha, we can't hear you, unfortunately. I think Nanesi Yamo. So keep sending your questions. If you have any comments, are also welcome. We will try to address as many as possible. Like I mentioned earlier on, We have offices in Accra, Kumasi, Cape Coast, and then Tamale. Our Kumasi office is located at the Ahunjo Roundabout, Nyako Plaza, same building with IPMC and ADB Bank. Our Cape Coast office is located at the Cape Coast Technical University, first floor of the old administration block. And then our Tamale office is located at the Yamusa building. Whilst we try to resolve the technical challenges with our people, let us know that this is the last virtual outreach for the year. Hopefully, we'll come back and then next year stronger and better from the feedback you are submitting to us through the questionnaire we have posted at the comment section. Kindly make sure you complete it for us and then provide us with the necessary feedback so we improve upon what we are currently offering. Do we have our people back? Nanesi Amwa, can we hear you? All right, so if they are not back, we will try and then start taking some of the questions. Anytime their network issues are resolved, we'll bring them in. All right, so Nana Kwame Tieku says, I think there should be meet the examiner session like how other institutions does when exams is approaching so that students can interact with different examiners. So Nana Kwame Tieku, I think that is what we have started. Hopefully we will improve upon what we have, but I don't know if the technical director has anything to add to this. Is this something which will continue or is just a one-off event? Ms. Alsay JJ, if you are here.
Hello, please.
Please repeat the question again. Repeat the question.
Okay, so someone wants to ask that he's suggesting that there should be meet the examiner sessions, like how other institutions does. So when exams is approaching, so that students can interact with different examiners. So I want to know if it will be continuous. This program will be continuous. They want to know if they can interact there, they can meet their examiners like how other institutions do theirs.
Yes, that is true. It will continue.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Osei. So Daniel Onyedikachi Okwandu is saying, please, I'm an international student from the University of Ghana. Please, can I take the accounting professional exams? Mr. Patrick Mens, are you here? He says he's an international student from the University of Ghana. Can he take the accounting professional exams?
Yes, he can. He can. Is open to all. Once he's in Ghana, he can take the ICAG exam. And
can you give him more information? How should he go about it?
Oh, he'll register just like any other student would do. So he goes online and then he does a registration. And I know why he's asking whether as international student. What happens is that after he's taken our exams, if he completes and he wants to go back to any other country, especially like Nigeria, we have a certain arrangement. So he'll be made to write their country-specific papers, and then he can also be a member of their professional body. So he can register.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay.
But before you go, there's also another question for you. When is the institute going to have an office in Takoradi? This question is from Francis Kweku Einstein. When is the institute going to have an office in Takoradi? I don't know if there are any plans like that.
Not immediately, but our plan is that the Cape Coast office will be serving both Takoradi and then Cape Coast. But it's noted to look at it.
Okay. Thank you very much. And then there's a question from Michael Jimfimenu, and this goes to the technical director or the exams manager. Please, why a script cannot be remarked when the student is not satisfied with the mark? Why can't a student go for remarking when he or she is not satisfied with the marks.
Oh, we'll have to log up.
Yes,
Technical
currently,
director or exams manager.
currently the policy is that when you apply for remarking, what is done is that you come and look at your script, look at the mark that was awarded to you. Okay, currently we don't have any policy for remarking of scripts. And once there's a groundswell of opinion and it's accepted by the council, then that can be done. But currently we don't have that policy of remarking.
Okay, and then Safo Asawa finds is asking, how much is the results review? If you want to review your results, how much does it cost? I don't know if it's referring to the checking the script or
Checking the
remarking.
script. No, you don't pay anything for checking your script. It's for free.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So this question is from John Boateng Daniels. And then he is saying, from the discussion, he reminded us to make good use of our syllabus. I plead to ask if we can also take into consideration the past questions. I think this question is for our examiner, Mr. Yaumensa. Someone wants to find out if you think they should make good use of past questions.
Yes, making use of past questions is good because it allows you to do a lot of practice. Because the truth of the matter is that there's nothing new that will come in examination, right? So making use of past questions and timing yourself to solve the past questions before you even look at the solution, I think for me will help in terms of your speed and in terms of becoming conversant with the syllabus. So it is good to use the past questions. It's good. Great. Thanks.
All right, thank you. And another question from Stefilo Nanabuache Steven. How do you apply for the opportunity to review your script if you doubt your results? If you doubt your results, how do you apply for a review?
Yes, you write a letter to the Chief Executive Officer and to be directed to the exam department. And then you'll be called to come and then view your script. So you won't have to write.
Okay. Someone wants to know when the results will be released. Will it be before or after Christmas?
Certainly, the results will be released after the Christmas festivities. But we cannot tell exactly when it will be released.
Then we are not going to have a good Christmas. We can't be chopping Christmas and be thinking of results.
It's unfortunate that COVID has taken away almost everything. But we had to organize the examination because students were calling for it. And we thought that was the right thing to do. And so we have to please bear with us as we try to meet your demands. It's not easy, it's difficult, but we'll go through it together.
It is well. Once I bring it is well. Please, I want to ask about the answer sheet when answering questions. Can you turn the sheet horizontally, or can you answer questions on questions across both pages at the same time? I think this question could go to our examiner. So I want to ask about the answer sheet when answering questions. Can he turn the sheet horizontally or answer across both pages at the same time?
Okay, thank you very much. The option we prefer is turning the answer booklet horizontally. For example, if it comes to cash budget, because it may require about say 6 months, it will be good to turn the answer booklet horizontally. Now, if you maintain it vertically and then you write across pages, you make use of the margins for the examiner. So the preferred option is to turn it horizontally.
Okay. So another question for you, don't go yet. My question is with regards to workings, who should come first, the workings or the actual answer to the question?
Oh, the actual answer should come first. Workings, what should happen now, you should leave, a page or two, depending on the nature of the question. You can do the workings first, at the back of the question before you now come and solve it. But I don't think there's any hard and fast rule on it. If you choose to actually start with workings as well, it's fine. The key thing is that you must show workings. Whether it comes first or after, it is fine.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Yaumensa. Mr. Osayi, there's a question for you. Now, the exam department says students should not bring their bags and stuff into the exam room. Susanna Entry is asking, what is the reason behind for not bringing our bags and stuff? Because this was not so at first. It became difficult for us to hold our calculators and stuffs in our hands.
Yes, it is true that it didn't used to be the case in times past, but we had very terrible experiences that made us to move to the current situation where you're not allowed to bring your bags. What happened was happening was that some lost their valuables after examination. We don't know what happens. How the students come with different motives. Before you realize your phone is off, is gone, your calculator is gone, your valuable is gone. And so, to ensure that we don't have such experiences, we decided no, don't bring your bag. And secondly, in the COVID era, we are being very cautious. We want all to stay safe. We know that it can be transmitted by many means, including your bags. And so we are asked not to bring your bag. If you bring your bag, then find a place to keep it yourself. It is not our responsibility to do that. And so please, that responsibility have been shifted onto you as a candidate, but not on the institute. We don't want to be saddled with demands that, oh, I brought this one and it's lost and it needs to be replaced by the institute. No, we don't want that. So please take care of your valuables. It is not our responsibility to take care of it for you.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Say. Yes, Susan, that is true. There have been many instances where students bring bags and they lose their valuables and they tend to blame the ICA officials. We don't want to be blamed again. Either you leave it at home or you find a place to keep it at your own cost. Agonaba KB Baden is saying, please, I'm a 2018 level 2 student. I paid for all required exemptions, Bachelor of Commerce holder. Then, I have written and passed financial reporting and management accounting. With the introduction of taxation, how am I going to be affected by the new exemption policy? I don't know. KB, I would advise that you get in touch with our office lines so we will require some further information from you. So I'm not going to put my officers on the spot now. Kindly call any of the numbers scrolling down there, and then they'll take some further details from you, so that we can
Alasan,
better.
if I might come in, Alasan,
Okay, sir, please come in.
please, the general rule is that any candidate who has not completed a level will write any new subjects introduced in that level. That's the general rule. So if
Okay,
you have a paper to write and that paper is a new one, that means you have to write the tax. It's a new subject.
all right. Okay, thank you. So there's a question from someone question. I think various examiners or chief examiners could be on call and take students through various tasks they expect from them in relation to each course. That is well noted, question. We'll think through it and then get back to you. Um, there is another question from Nana Kwamitiku. Okay, so we've responded to that already. Quest Jom is saying, we the students in Volta region also need an ICA office. So students in Volta region, they say they need an office in Ho. Mr. Patrick Mensa, this one is for your ears. Wasuma.
Okay. I think that would be a good one to have. But sometimes noted.
Okay,
this
sir.
one noted.
So Richard Anani Brempong, will the November results be released before close of year? Mr. Asaya, I think you answered it partial. He wants to know whether it will come before the end of the year.
We cannot tell for certain when the results will be released, but we can assure the student that it will definitely be released.
Okay. And then Ahiachi Augustine is asking, can one from another accountancy body become a member of ICAG after evaluation? What is the criteria? Mr. Osei, can someone from another professional body be a member of ICAG after evaluation? And what is the criteria, if any?
Yes, currently we admit all professional bodies approved by IFAC, International Federation of Accountants. And so once your professional body is approved by IFAC, you can be admitted as a member of the institute without writing any examination. But I must say that with the new bill that is waiting to be an act, once it is passed into an act, you are given 1 year within which to apply to become a member of the institute. After the 1 year grace period, any member of any accountancy body who wants to be ICAG member will have to write some papers specified by council. And so council will come by way of regulation. Let us know that papers that you have to write before you become a member of the institute, if the bill is passed into an act.
Thank you. So if you want to be a member of ICAG from any other professional body, you better do so before the act is finally assented to by the president, or immediately after that, within 1 year after its assentment. Richard Anani Brempon is asking again. I think we've dealt with that. So please, if I have a paper left in level 2, and one paper left in level 3, what level can I quote that I have passed?
Let me come in here. If for instance you are writing level 1, you pass 3 out of 4, you have no level. If you pass level 1 and you are passed, let's say even 5 papers in level 2, your level is level 1. You don't pass level 2. That's what it is. And so you have to complete a level before you can say that I have level 1 or level 2 or level 3.
All right. So Richard, in this case, you quote level 2. You are still in level 2. You haven't completed level 2 yet. So Frank Ellis is asking, is the 3 sittings approved now? Are we going to have 3 sittings next year, Mr. Osei?
No, please. It's as a result of the COVID and its after effect. And we all know that going by our normal timetable, we would have finished with the examination, waiting for the results. But now we have to go beyond the usual time. And this process will eat into the next preparation for the May examination. So we thought it wise not to implement the 3-die system the year 2021. But so it has been shifted to 2022, where we'll start implementing the 3-die system.
Okay, thank you very much for the clarification. Jacob Aziati is asking, please, how does ICAG make provision in ambiguities and errors in questions on the marking scheme, especially in questions whose answers are highly conditioned on some other factors? How does ICAG make provisions?
Well, I think the examiner, before the examiner comes in, I don't know, the questioner is implying that there are some questions that have errors in them and ambiguities, and I can assure him that we try as much as possible to avoid that. But in case there is something like that, it's a question, and so it depends on whatever anyone will understand it. The way I understand the question might be different from how you understand it, and that creates what they call ambiguities. But we try as much as possible to ensure that there are no errors in the question. But if it does happen, it is taken into consideration when it is being marked, so that students will not be disadvantaged.
Okay, so maybe the examiner can tell us how it is done.
Yes. So when the questions are set, the examiners provide marking scheme. And when the question actually is selected for examination, at the point of conference marking, the marking scheme provided by the person who gave the question is now reviewed again by all the markers at the conference marking. So if there are any doubt or ambiguity in question from the view of the examiners, we take all of those into account. So we don't have cast and stone marking scheme. We will have the first cut of marking scheme, but then there are room that is made available for something. So usually you rather that the marking scheme that is used by the markers, we take note of, we do highlighting of things to take into account such ambiguity. So the student should be rest assured that a lot of analysis goes into it so that no student is at an advantage. So please, if you think there's any ambiguity, examiners also will look at that and then we'll take into account before finally the marking scheme is released. So students, be rest assured that any ambiguity that comes up will be sorted out before marking begins and you're not disadvantaged. Thank you.
Thank you, examiner. So please stay. There's another question for you. Michael Ochiwa is asking, please, is it allowed to answer part of a question, say question 1A on page 1 of the answer booklet, and the other part later, say question 1B on page 12? Is it allowed?
As much as possible, you can do that, but you see, you create a problem for yourself because sometimes you may forget to actually properly number the question. For example, you start with question 1A on page 1. Then you are jumping to question 2 on page 2. Now you are going to answer question 1B on page 4. But when you go to page 4, you write question 2B on top. When indeed it's not question 1B. So I think to avoid that, you have paid for examination script. What our advice is that students should leave enough space, probably a page or 2 pages, when they have not answered the question fully, so that when they are ready to answer it, they can now allow the questions to follow sequentially. But as much as possible, we should minimize answering question and missing them up. Question 1 comes, question 2 comes. Then it's not the best. It may go against you eventually if you are not careful.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So please, as much as possible, make sure you are logical in the presentation of the answers.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you make sure you label it rightly. Make sure it is legible enough for the examiner or the one marking to know that indeed you answered a part of question on another page. Edu Stephen, I think we've answered the question already about the release of results. We can't tell for now, but hopefully it will come after Christmas. Rachel, we've answered your question. Augustine Kojo Akwaku, there used to be a guideline on topics that makes each examination, but it seems these days we don't see that. Any particular reason for that? There used to be a guideline on topic that makes each examination, but it seems these days we don't see that. Any particular reason for that? I don't know if you are talking about the syllabus, but there is a syllabus with a weighting. So you can check our syllabus on our website. It has a various weighting for the topics. I don't know if it's the extraction we did and sent around some 2 or so years ago, but you can check the syllabus out. You have the information you're looking for. Gideon Cranton, please, what happens when you register for a paper and due to an unfortunate incident, you are not able to sit for it? As I say, if you register for a paper and due to an unfortunate incident, you are not able to sit for it.
Yes, that is what we call deferment. You have to write to give us a notice that you are deferring the paper. So this setting you are not writing. Let us know about it. Otherwise, it will remain in your name and in the system. If you have gone to set it up, register for examination, you're not going to write, and you write to us to defer, you have to go and clear it. Otherwise, it will stand in your name, and when you are going to the examination the next date, you will see that you still owe, and that will create some problems.
Okay. So, but I think his question is, assuming he doesn't defer, and for one reason or the other, he's not able to come to the exam center, doesn't mean he has lost out?
Yes, of course.
Okay.
Yes, lost out. They lost out.
All right. So Gideon, it's either you defer. I think the deferment is even over for this sitting. It ended on Monday or so. So if you haven't deferred, it means you need to sit for the exam. If you don't sit, you'll be classified as being absent for that particular examination. And then Tete Ofori, he's asking a specific question on the strategic case study. Please, how did you arrive at the room occupancy revenue of $1,396,658 in 2020? And the question is on the November strategic case study. I think this is a specific question that I'm not sure our examiner here has answers to the question you're asking. So we'll leave it there. You can call any of the numbers later and then they will link you or they will try to assist you. Joe Kobla Okunyi is asking, when is the London Examination Center going to be reopened? Mr. Say.
It's a very interesting question. We used to have a center in London, but we got to know that it is not cost effective, and even in US as well. And we assessed it and got to know that it's not cost effective, and so it was discontinued. So as we speak now, the only center that we have apart from Ghana is in Liberia. But I must say that if you are in the UK or US and you still want to do an examination, then unfortunately you have to arrange to come to Ghana one of these dates, right, and go back. But I must also state here and now that ICAG will be going digital in the years to come. We are planning to digitalize our examination process, and so at some years to come, you will be writing examination online.
Thank you, Technical Director, for that information. We will prepare very well for the online examination. Susanna Mavis Aqua Pencil is asking, please, is there any rule on using blue and black pen for the examination? Is there any specific rule, Mr. Osai or examiner? Is there any rule on using blue and black pen?
Okay. There's no rule. You are fine to use black pen or blue pen. That's fine, because the markers use red pen and then green pen.
Okay, thank you. So the only pen you cannot use is green and red.
And then red, yes.
Yes, because that's what the examiners use. So any other,
yes.
If you use white pen, wow, someone. Has the 3 sittings within the year been approved? I think my boss has spoken to that already. To comments in 2022. Rich Meso, I was unable to register for the exams because my admission was pending approval on the students portal. How do I resolve this issue before the next sitting? I'm Rich. I kindly contact the Student Services Directorate on the number 0558 836988. Please contact any of our offices as well, and we will make sure it is resolved as soon as possible. We are very sorry for the inconvenience we caused you. AJ Marfo, please, how far has the institute gone concerning the 3 sittings within a year? We've spoken on that. It will commence 2022. I think Nana Kwame Kutu, we've resolved your issue. So Madam Abigail Ama, she's with us here. She's our PR and communications manager. She's making some comments on the bag issue about not bringing in your bags and other valuables. An innovation we saw at the last night was by a student who put his calculator, pens, pencils, and eraser in a transparent Ziploc bag. So that is what Auntie Abigail is suggesting. You may want to get a transparent Ziploc bag, and then you can put all those things inside. That one, it is accepted for you to take it inside. Michael Ochua is asking, please confirm if all workings should be crossed out. Examiners, do they have to cross their workings out?
No. It depends. If the workings are required to support your answer, then no. If you did some rough work, let me actually call it rough work. Rough work, then you cross it out.
Okay.
Yes, if it is rough work, you just did like trying to list out some of your points, you cross it out. But if it is workings to support your answer, please, you don't have to cross it out.
All right. So some workings are supposed to be part of the question, and those ones, it is necessary for you to leave them. But if they are just some rough work, you may cross them out. Yeah. Albin Azibasi is asking, any information with regard to PSA exam structure? I don't know about the exam structure you're referring to, but please contact our syllabus. It's on our website. You can see the marks allocation per topic in that syllabus. Swedina Oda is asking, the last time my friend wrote the exams was in 2014. How can he resume writing the exams? So now, please contact any of our student services numbers. What the person will be required to do is to reactivate his studentship status, and that will cost about 350 Ghana. It will take care of all the subscriptions he hasn't paid from 2014 up to now, and then we'll reactivate the studentship. He'll register online on the portal and continue from where he left off. So please contact any of the numbers scrolling down there for further information as to how he can go about it. Patrick Brampo, how does it take for exemptions to be granted after all conditions are done? Patrick, I don't think it takes that long. Once it's a process, once you complete and submit your necessary document, the team at the Student Services Directorate will review the file and they will approve it. So it doesn't take so much time. Of course, sometimes they are over. Yes, sir.
Not more than 3 days.
Not more than
So
3 days.
yes, if he
Okay.
has some difficulty, sometimes the students don't go back to the portal. Please
Okay.
go back to the portal and check where you applied for the exemption. Then you see that it's been approved. If they have any problem, quickly they should let us know. Again, the one who spoke about registration difficulty, in fact, constantly they are approving student registration. And so if somebody is having some difficulty with the registration, maybe he didn't enter it well on the portal, uh, they should quickly let us know through text message on the number that you have indicated, and then we'll get them resolved for them.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. William Eji is asking, please, what is the minimum number of papers one can write at any sitting? I think the minimum number for level 1 and level 2 is 2 papers at a sitting. But for level 3, you need to register and write all the papers at that you have outstanding. I don't know if I'm right, technical director. As I say, please, are you around? Okay, so we'll come back to that. Enoch Amma, please.
You are right.
Okay,
You are
sir.
right.
Okay.
Exactly. Unless at the lower level, unless you have a paper outstanding. If you have one paper outstanding, then you can register for only that paper. Otherwise,
Okay.
you write two, but at the final is a 4, like you indicated.
Okay. Enoch Amma, please, is asking, please kindly help me with the exemptions in level 2 for a bachelor's degree holder in accounting. The exemptions in level 2, I think principles of taxation, and then audit and assurance, plus the whole of level 1. So that is the exemptions for level 2. So Scott Wilson, in exams, can one state his assumptions on a question and is it allowed? Examiner, Mr. Yaumensa, Scott Wilson is asking, in exams, can one state his assumptions on a question and is it allowed? Mr. Yaumensa.
Okay, Alasa, let me come in here.
Okay, sir.
Yes, you can state your assumptions when you are answering a question. It's allowed. In fact, it even helps the examiner to know whether your thought process is accurate. And so, if of course your assumptions does not apply to the question, you will definitely lose your marks. But it's also
Okay.
useful if you want to state your assumptions.
All right. Thank you, sir. All right. Before you go, please answer this question for Glory 30. Please, what happens if I registered for a paper but I couldn't write due to ill health? I was admitted at the hospital a day to writing the July 2020 exams. I sent a doctor's report, but I was told it was too late.
Very, very sorry for that, my sister. You know, we work with systems here, and they are set in such a way that once the period within which you are allowed to defer is closed, you cannot re-enter into the system. It's closed. And so until the next exams date, nothing can be done about it. We have several of such instances where they write to us, giving us evidence of what happened before the examination. Some even happened a day before. I can't remember, someone was so sick, but she came to write examination. She decided to sit in the corridor to write because she knew that she couldn't defer it. It happens sometimes. It's unfortunate. We wish that we could do something about it.
Okay, so there are, yes, sir.
Yeah, I went off briefly, but I saw a question about assumptions. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah, let me
Scott,
just answer that question.
So he's
Yes.
asking if his assumption, he can state his assumptions on the question, and is it allowed?
Yes, it all depends on the question. For instance, if you are dealing with forecasting of cash flow, then you're allowed to state your own assumptions because there are variety of assumptions that you can make in cash flow forecasting. So that is allowed. So it all depends on the question. Yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much. So there are two questions on the scholarship. So Mr. Mensah, get ready. Portia Amaba is good day, sir. Please, if you are awarded a scholarship but you failed 2 papers, please do you still have the scholarship or you have lost it?
If it's the England and Wales scholarship, that one is not subject to the failure condition. So we have 2 scholarships, the ICAG scholarship and then the England and Wales scholarship. The England and Wales scholarship is what I've explained. But the ICAG scholarship has some conditions. And one of them is that you should not fill the same paper twice. So if you fail a paper, if you are on the ICAG scholarship with the first class from the university, what it means is that you have a certain level of performance. And so if you fail the same paper twice, then you lose the scholarship. So if you have, say, management accounting, you fail the first time, you are allowed to write again. And then if you write the second time and you fail, then the scholarship will be withdrawn. The withdrawal of the scholarship doesn't mean you have to refund the monies that had been spent. The withdrawal will mean that wherever you are, you continue from there by paying. And so if we had spent about over 3,000 in terms of registration, exemptions, and then the first time of writing the papers or whatever time of writing the papers, and you couldn't pass twice the same paper, you lose the scholarship and then you continue by paying.
Okay, thank you very much. So on the same scholarship issue, Enoch Amwa is asking, what is the minimum qualification for the ICAG scholarship and the procedure to follow?
The ICAG scholarship is getting a first class from a recognized tertiary institution. So if you are coming from, say, one of our universities and you made a first class, then you qualify for the scholarship. From any of the polytechnic, you made a first class. And in fact, any subject area, so even if you made a first class in chemistry, first class in pharmacy, first class in accounting, first class in economics, you still qualify for the scholarship.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Mensah. Kayla Texan says, I registered in 2018 but couldn't write the exam that year. I have not been able to pay for my annual subscription for 2019 and 2020. How much will I be made to pay to resubscribe? And how much penalty will I have to pay also before I can write at the next sitting? Kayla, I think what you need to do is to reactivate your studentship status, and that costs kindly at 350 cedis. It will take care of all the subscription you haven't paid plus their penalty. I don't know whether you registered online. If you did, you need to pay that money, send in the pay slip, and then we can reactivate your studentship status. But in the meantime, kindly contact any of the numbers scrolling down there, and then they'll take your details and assist you through the process. Christian Answer. Christian answer is also, I think this question will be for you. So why does ACC students left not to write any paper after they qualify want to join IC? But that is not the case for those migrating otherwise. Meanwhile, we are always in IFRS. I think this yeah, so
Yes,
his question is why we are allowing ACC.
yes, I think it's not only ACC. As I explained earlier, it
Yeah,
is all professional qualifications that is approved by
okay,
IFAC. We allow them to join as members when they qualify. But as I said earlier, this will change very soon. When the bill is
okay,
passed into an act, they'll be given 1 year grace period to join the institute. Thereafter, if you want to be a member of the institute, then you need to write some specific papers to be determined by council. That will
okay.
be after the 1 year grace period.
Thank you very much. So Glory Tete is back. Is it too late to defer, or so it meant I lost out on 2 papers? Glory, I think yes. The policy for deferment is that you should defer. We can only defer up to 2 weeks before the first paper, and per our estimation, the first paper is on 30th November. 2 weeks to that exam to 30th November is on 16th. So for that reason, you cannot defer at this stage. It is too late to do so. Rose Akudugu is asking, please can you turn the answer booklet? I think the examiner explained that yes, it is possible if the question demands. Or, Mr. Yaumensa, yes, so I think we responded to that earlier on. Abdulrahman Al Hassan is asking, please, is it allowed to answer one question across a page? That is page 3 to 4. That has also been responded to. Yes, it is allowed, but you make sure you provide the question number. Let the examiner know that this is a continuation of a previous question. Or so make sure you write the number legibly so that the examiner will not be confused. Enoch Bless Amor, please kindly help me with the exemptions in level 2 for bachelor's degree. I think we've answered that question already. Ohima Abina, what are the conditions for exemptions and how much will you pay? Abina, it depends on the qualification. We have a number of things we look out for. Please contact any of the numbers scrolling down there. You can also contact our website. You have much more information. It depends on the qualification you are coming in with. Of course, you should have done the course at the tertiary level, and then we examine your transcripts to tell which exemptions you qualify for. All right, so there's a wish share from Madam Sena Dake. She is the vice president of the institute, and she's wishing all students the best of luck in the upcoming examination. So we have our vice president wishing all of us the very best of luck in the upcoming examination. Madam, thank you very much for your wishes. Sarah Adupo, please, what exemption do I have with an MBA in accounting? Mr. Mesa, please, can you respond to that?
MBA in accounting, you have exemptions from level 1 and then 5 papers in the level 2. So you write public sector accounting and then the 4 papers are the final. You write 5 papers and you qualify if you pass them.
Okay. Of course, that should depend on if she did accounting at the first degree. So you send your transcript and we can confirm that. So Mwako Isaac is, please, that the exemption apply to any degree holder regardless of the class he got at the university level.
Correct.
Does that make sense? Okay, yeah, so that is true. Yes,
I think I'm on.
Okay, so please respond to her. We didn't hear you, went off briefly.
Yeah, we don't look at the class. Once you've been certified by the university, you qualify for the exemption. So if you have a first class, second class upper, second class lower, third class, whatever class, once you've been given or you've been certificated by the tertiary institution, you can apply for the exemptions.
Okay. Agbenya Joanna Esinam is a please will the November exams results be released this year? I think our technical director has responded to that he cannot give a certain date, but we will receive the results after Christmas. Rahel, good afternoon. Please, I'm left with one paper in level 2, which is PSA. Can I add it to the papers in level 3 and write at a sitting? Secondly, can I add the PSA to either 1 or 2 papers in level 3 to write, leaving the remaining papers for another sitting? As I say,
As has been explained earlier, once you have one paper at level 2, you can add it to the 4 level 3 because there's a policy of writing across levels. That has been operated for some time now. But then you cannot add to 1 or 2 in level 3 and write. You have to write all the papers level 3, that means all the 5. And if you pass all the 5, that means you qualify. But if you pass 1 or 2, now we have the credit system where a pass is credited. Then you write the rest.
okay. So Ara, you can add the PSA to level 3 papers, but it should be all the level 3 papers. You can't choose and select. Rhoda Crab is asking, please, what are the exemptions available when you have a master's in accounting and taxation from GIMPA? Mr. Mesa, do you have a specific response to that?
Yes, it's same. If you have a first degree and you have masters in accounting and taxation, I suppose it's the MBA she's talking about.
Yes,
then you
MBA.
qualify for exemption from level 1 and then 5 papers at the level 2. And so in that case, you write public sector and then the 4 papers are the final, making 5 papers to qualify.
All right, thank you very much. So Hussein Adam Yusuf, there's a rumor ongoing that ICAG exams will now be written 3 times in a year. To what extent is that information true? Hussein, yeah, there is some bit of truth in it, but like my boss explained, it will commence in 2022. There were plans to start it next year, but unfortunately, because of COVID, we couldn't finish our preparation. So it will now commence in 2022 when we will have 3 dates in a year. Alex Igairam Kwashi, what level am I likely to be placed if I'm to enroll at the university for a degree with ICU fully qualified? Mr. Mensah, do you have any response? He wants to know what level he'll be placed.
Yes, it depends on the university. Some will take you for 200, some will take you for level 300. So it depends on the university. But if you've completed the CA, why don't you do the masters? So if you want to branch into academics, then I'm thinking that after you've qualified, you can join the masters. But many of them are allowing those with the CA to do their master's degree. Otherwise, because of the policy they have at the university, it's not likely or it's difficult for them to admit you at level 400. Because you have to cover certain papers before you can get a first degree from some of these universities. And so you get to level 200 or 300 depending on the university. But you can also do the masters. So I advise such persons can enroll for their master's degree.
Okay, thank you. McAfee is asking Mr. Mensah, please can one be exempted from financial management with a degree? If you have a degree.
With a first degree now, no. Because now the financial management that we have, I'm sure people are comparing with the financial management in the old part too. The contents are not the same. The old one and the new financial management in level 2, this one, let me say, had been enhanced. And so you need a master's degree for exemption from the current financial management and not the first degree.
All right, and then Michael Colette Jr., can the ICA certificate be used to apply for a degree? I think you've responded to that. It even goes beyond a degree. Some universities accept it for a master's program. CS Samuel, please, will you have to pay for all parts 3 papers, even though you'll not be writing all at a sitting? Mr. Say, please will you have to pay for all part 3 papers, even though you not be writing all at a sitting?
Yes, you have to. Some also have that strategy. They register for all the papers, knowing that they write only 2. That's what they will put their concentration on. It's allowed, but you have to pay for all the 4 papers.
Okay. Bagbio Paul, how are candidates expected to analyze the pre-scene information on strategic case study? Mr. Osai and then our examiner, please respond to this. How do you expect candidates to analyze the pre-scene information on
But if I
strategic
ask,
case study?
and this is not a teaching portal. They should go to the tuition providers, please.
Yes, that is it. I mean, because we cannot begin to tell you how to analyze it. So I think they should just call their tuition providers to help them out.
Okay, that's fine. Bless Kubashi says, please, will you be exempted from audit paper in part 2 when you attempted to do the previous syllabus? So in this new syllabus, will you be exempted as a BSc accounting graduate? It's not very clear. I don't know if you have a BSc accounting and you want to find out if you are exempted from audit. Yes, if you have BSc accounting, you qualify for exemptions in audit and assurance at the level 2. I hope that is answered. Tete Ofori, can someone with BA philosophy and English get any exemption? Mr. Mensa, someone with BA philosophy and English, can he get any exemption?
It doesn't look to me that that person can get an exemption. But let me say that if your area at the university is not in accounting, it will be in your own interest to start from the scratch. It helps you to understand and appreciate all the subjects because it's, you know, the structure is let me say segmented, and so if you do the level 1 papers, the level 1 papers will help you to appreciate many of the level 2 papers. In that area, the area of BA philosophy and English, it doesn't look like there will be an exemption, but it will help him to start from the scratch.
Okay, so that's a professional advice to you, Mr. Ofori. It is advised that you don't even consider exemptions, so you start from the scratch, as it will build you in the future examination. So Paul is back. The pass rate of financial management for the last sitting was so low. What are candidates not doing right in order to pass that paper? Mr. Examiner, it says the pass rate for financial management was very low. What are students not doing right? Okay, so what I'll do is to try to read the examiner's comments from that paper. It says the possible reasons for some poor performance were as follows. That is the financial management paper. Poor preparation by some candidates that could be partially due to COVID-19, poor question answering and time management skills, poor labeling of questions, handwriting and use of faded pens still featured, notwithstanding the consistent highlighting of this problem. Weak knowledge in answering the main quantitative questions carrying high marks. Weak grasp of the quantitative knowledge on business valuation and operating leverage and financial leverage. Complacency on the part of some candidates due to the good performance at the last examinations. And then there's some strength and weakness areas. The strength areas, they said enhancement in the quality of digital access to study material and knowledge in the subject area, improvement in the usage of non-contact quality study material. So some of the observed weakness, there was poor grasp of quantitative aspects of the new syllabus. There's poor numbering of questions, of answers to questions, making it difficult for examiners to mark. Poor handwriting and faded pens, making reading and marking difficult, is still prevalent. So these are some of the comments made by the chief examiner on that financial management paper. So if you are someone who sat for that paper, please take notes. Like we say, we always advise you to make yourself familiar with the chief examiner's report. Go through it, identify the mistakes people made, and ensure you don't repeat same going into the examination. Abigail Amadi is asking, please, which papers can a BBA certificate holder be exempted from? Mr.
BBA, we need to look at the area.
Okay.
If it's BBA administration, we need to look at the area. But many of them, those who brought BBA from University of Ghana, from UPSA, got exemption from the level 1. But it depends on the course structure, because others also do different course areas. So you submit for our assessment, and then we can determine exactly what exemptions you qualify for.
Okay, Abigail, so please contact any of our offices and then you submit your transcript so we look at it and identify the exemptions. Swedina Oda is back. Is this exemptions for BSc Accounting and MBA in Finance? Mr. Mensa, can you help?
Yes, BSc Accounting, you have level 1, then 2 papers in the level 2. Then Finance, you get financial management in addition. So
okay.
4 in level 1, 3 in level 2, making 7.
Right. Okay, so meaning she's going to write financial reporting, management accounting, public
BSc.
and then public sector accounting in the level 2.
That's correct.
Philip Dansun Nyantechi, I failed 2 papers in level 2. Do I still hold my scholarship? I think that has been responded to.
Let me clarify.
Okay.
It's not failing 2 papers. It's when you fail the same paper twice. So if you fail 2 papers, you have another opportunity to write them. So I know some of them, they are using a certain trick where they fail 2 papers, they move to the other 2. But whatever you do, you come back to those same papers. So please try not to fail the same paper twice, so that you can continue.
Okay, we should be wrapping up in the next 10 minutes. So please, Samuel Atiemo answer. Please, can someone register for all level 3 papers and defer 2 of them if he or she thinks by one reason or the other cannot write all? Mr. Osai, can you register for all the level 3 papers and defer 2 of them if you think you are not ready to write all of them?
No, you can't do that. It's like registering 2 out of 4, but that's not allowed.
It's trying to look smart. Nana Kwame Tieku, when will November 2020 mock exams be released? We need it for our presentation or preparation. It helps us to predict questions that will come in the main exams. Oh, Nana Kwame, you're looking for mock exams by this time. The exams is just over a week away. I'm not sure there will be different mock exams. Whatever mock exams was released prior to the first syllabus exam prior to November 2019 still apply, unless maybe you're asking about the tuition providers. They can release more questions, but I'm not sure they need to release a new set of mock questions. Mr. Asai, is that correct?
What you said is correct.
Okay, sir. Augustine Reku is saying, members of the Ghana Bar Association, salaries and condition of service at work are regulated by the bar. Please can ICAG ensure that all members are paid at a minimum benchmark?
Very
please can you
interesting.
ensure that?
Very interesting. One thing that we should know about this profession is that it is the language of business, and every business needs an accountant. It's not like any other profession. No, it's not. For instance, those in the SMEs, small and medium-sized enterprises, they don't need to employ an engineer or a lawyer, but they necessarily have to employ an accountant. And that makes it very difficult for us to set a minimum wage for accountants. But every accountant will be remunerated based on his output. We tried in certain industries. I mean, that one can be considered. For instance, those in the health sector, for instance, they approach the institute that should assist them so that they can be graded when they're trying to pay doctors overtime allowance and all that. That one can be considered because that's the industry. But when it's a wholesale setting up of a minimum wage for accountants, it is very, very difficult because accountancy is not like any other profession. It's a different profession on its own. As I said earlier, every business needs an accountant. That makes the profession well sought for all over the world.
Well, thank you very much, sir. Agonaba KB Baden is asking, please, I was exempted from financial management and audit and assurance in 2018. How will the new exemption policy affect me in level 2? Mr. can you help?
Yeah, it is not going to be affected. What had happened is that because you are taking the whole financial management, you have to write tax and continue. He's taking the financial management already, so he has to continue and then he has to write tax.
Okay,
to
sir.
continue.
And then Abigail is back asking about the scholarship. How can you get a scholarship?
We have 2 scholarships. The ICA one, the ICAG scholarship, you need to have obtained or attained a first class from a tertiary institution. That is the ICAG scholarship. Then the second one, the ICA UW, you need to have performed very well amongst the best in the ICAG exam and with some other conditions. But the basic one would be to perform very well in the ICAG exam. So for that one, you should be on the ICAG program.
Okay. Thank you very much. So we will take our last 2 questions. Gideon Cranton, please, I heard if you have written and passed corporate strategy, ethics and governance in level 2, you'll be exempted for strategic case study in level 3. How true is that?
That's not true. It's a new course, so it is true. You have to do it.
Okay. Mr. Osai, do you want to add something to that?
Yes, in fact, in the previous syllabus, the 2015 syllabus, we had this subjects in level 2. It was in level 2, and we all know about corporate strategy, ethics, and governance. Then we had strategic case study in level 3. So I wonder how somebody would like to use level 2 subject to claim an exemption in level 3. There are 2 different levels.
Okay.
And so you can't use that.
All right. And by general condition, we don't grant exemptions at the final level. So that should even give you an idea. Patrick Mchibu is please, in presentation of answers to questions that requires workings, is it okay to show the workings on the first page and the presentation on the next page?
Yes, it is fine. You can do that. It's fine.
Okay. I said last 2, but 2 questions I've just dropped in. Oben Kwesi Asare, I'm a final year GIMPA student, BSc Finance. Please, do I qualify to start? And are there any exemptions, please?
Yeah, you qualify to start, to register. For exemptions, we don't have a policy now that will allow you to, as a final year student, to access those exemptions. But you can register as a student and start from the level 1.
Okay, so unless you are done with the course before you can apply for the exemptions. Samuel J, please, what is the number of years you can use the scholarship in writing the exams? So for accounting related courses or business related, you have 3 years. And for non-accounting or business related, you have 5 years.
5 years, yeah.
Bless Kumashi, please, I learned if you attempt an exemption paper and you don't pass, you can't take exemption again. But here is a case we are under a new syllabus. Will you be exempted from that paper?
Let me make it clear. If you had the opportunity or if you had the qualification for the exemption and you didn't want to take the exemption, so you applied and you couldn't pass, what it means is that then your competence from the qualification could be questioned, and therefore you cannot take the exemption. In that case, you lose the opportunity.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. So we will take the last question, please. We'll take the last question. Kweku also, is the ICA planning to enroll on an online examination? I think that has been answered. So we'll give the opportunity to AB Josephine. What is the institute doing to help those in the northern sector with tuition on a case study paper since it is difficult to get lectures?
Mr. Hassan, I know. Hello, Mr. Hassan.
Yes, sir.
I know we have tuition centers in the north. So I would entreat whoever is asking the question. If it's in the north, just go to our website, get to one of the tuition centers, and then I'm sure they will help.
Yes, there are a
Tamale,
number of
Wa,
tuition.
Bolga, they all have tuition centers
Exactly.
of competent, lecturers.
Exactly, that is true. At least I know of two in Tamale, two in Wa, one in Bolga. They are there, they can help you. Just go to our website, there's Partners in Learning, download the list of tuition centers, and then you can get someone to assist you there. So Edna is back. Can you add some papers in level 3 when you are left with 2 papers in level 2? I think that question was answered earlier. That you only have, you can't add to level 2 papers if you have 2 or more. It should be left with only 1 paper before you can add to it. Okay, so you can't add if you have more than 2 papers in one particular level. It should be 1. That is when you need to add, or you can add some papers in level, or all the papers in level 3 to it. So, ladies and gentlemen, I think the remaining questions have been addressed. Augustine, we addressed your question about guideline for exam question. I don't know what you're talking about. I think we have the syllabus online. I'm not sure about any other guideline, like you are saying. So, Mr. Mensa, can you give us your final comments on this program? We'll go around for our final comments.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hassan. First, we want to wish all our students well in the exams. But let me add that if you look at your preparation and is not up to scratch, and then it doesn't go the way you wanted, we want to plead with them. Don't make it look like it's somebody who didn't allow you to pass. Let's be honest with ourselves. There are people who know that they could not have enough time to prepare. And so if it happens like that, like I have a friend, he will always attribute it to himself that I didn't do A, B, C, D, and that's why I couldn't pass the paper. We want to see that honesty. Instead of we trying to blame the institute and writing a lot of letters on remarking and review, and in fact many letters, we are pleading with our students that if you yourself, you know your preparation wasn't apt, and so you could not make a paper, please prepare well and come back, and you can pass. I have seen somebody who wrote a paper, he didn't pass. The next time he wrote, he made 80 out of the score. So let's give ourselves, that area, and agree that we understand our own situation. Thank you very much, Mr. Hassan.
Thank you very much, sir. If our examiner is Mr. Yaumensa, please, any final remarks for our students?
Okay, thank you very much. And let me also wish students all the very best in advance. There is no other way to passing ICAG apart from but hard work. And I can also assure students that there are stringent processes around marking of ICAG exams. As the technical director said, no one person can influence the whole process. So in fact, I can say that if you don't make 50% or 50 marks, then genuinely you didn't make it, right? So I can only just say that we should take note of the issues I raised earlier on, and we should avoid those petty mistakes. And we should know that every single mark is important. But if you get 49, you just require 1. And maybe because you didn't give proper title to your report, you fail to get that 1 mark. So take note of that, and I'm sure that all of you will excel highly this time around. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. Please, do you have any of our past students here? Solomon, are you still around? Any final comments? Christian Odonko, are you around? Any final comments? Okay, Abnan Shra, please, any final comments from you?
Yes, please. I'd like to wish my fellow November 2020 candidates all the very best in their exams. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Adam Christian Odonko, final comment from you.
Okay, I want to wish all the students a farewell and a very good luck in their exams. I hope whatever they learned comes and then they are able to finish their course as soon as possible to come into the field in practice.
Thank you very much. I'm not sure we have Samuel Asaritre still here. Nanesi Amotu, I don't know if any of you is here to add to it. Okay, so we'll take our final comment from the Technical Director of the Institute of Chartered Accountants Ghana, Mr. Osei Kwekwe Jemfi.
Thank you so much. I would like to address the prospective students. And they are those that we are trying to reach with this platform. I have to say that you are choosing the right decision to join the accountancy fraternity. You will never regret it. As I've said earlier, accountancy is the language of business, and every business needs an accountant. Unfortunately for this country, we don't have enough of the accountants. Some people don't believe it, but that's the fact. This is because some are occupying the position of accountants, but they don't qualify to be there. A day will come where businesses would like to have qualified accountants man all these positions. That is where you come in. And so don't wait. Join the train, and the prospect is very high. Your future is bright with ICAG. Join the institute, and you will secure your future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Osei Ejejemfi. This has been the fourth and last virtual outreach of ICAG for the year 2020. Much appreciation to the whole team supporting the success of this program. From our event and marketing team, we have Ms. Joyce Edu and Mr. John Hansen. Our regional officers, Thomas Osei, Sandra Safuji, Felicia Nambiri. Our student services staff here, Joanna Mafo, Jocelyn Badigbe-Tosa, Joyce Sakite, Isahaku Fuseni. IT support, Martin Okere, Kingsford O2, and David Tay. And indeed, all staff of ICAG for the support for the success of this program. My name is Alhassan Yusuf Traule, and we wish our students the very best of luck. We will see you next year. Stay safe, protect yourself, protect your family, and all the best in the exams. Bye-bye.
The very essence of leadership is to become more. At ICAG, we stand for leadership and we are inspired to offer more. Leadership stands up to be answerable. We use our national and international conferences to tell our story and hold ourselves to high global benchmarks. Leadership is where brilliance is rewarded. We reward brilliance with scholarships for postgraduate students. Leadership thrives on fresh ideas. Our tertiary business sense challenge makes you see business from a different perspective. Leadership is not about today. We keep an eye on tomorrow by providing internships in high-ranked institutions to inspire the next generation of business leaders. Leadership is acquiring ATSWA, CA Professional, Post-Chartered Diploma from ICAG. ICAG, where leaders become more.